So, a very warm welcome to our audiences again today. Today on Marketing Beyond Borders by Space, we're joined by someone who's more than just a brand whisperer. He is a business reimaginer. Mark Robinson is the co-owner and chief commercial officer at Wrapped Agency, a strategy-first creative house helping the businesses transform. He has over 20 years of experience in sales and marketing, and he's worked with every industry to establish giants. So, Mark, welcome on board. On behalf of Space and our audiences, I welcome you as an esteemed guest with us today.
Thank you. Very pleased to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So let's begin with an icebreaker question for you, Mark. You've built brands, you've led teams, and now you're running an agency. But if we rewind the tape altogether, what were the early sparks that got you hooked onto the marketing landscape?
It's a great question to kick off with. I think honestly, for me, it was people. So I've always been curious about what makes someone choose one brand over another, what drives loyalty, what drives emotion, and what drives trust. I guess that curiosity kind of evolved into a fascination, if you like, with storytelling, and then that rolled into performance. So marketing, I guess, gave me the platform to blend creativity with commercial thinking. I think once I realised that I could help shape not just campaigns, but the direction of a business or the businesses that we're dealing with, I think I was hooked from that point onwards.
Pretty interesting. So yeah, my perspective towards marketing has always been that, it has a lot of psychology involved in it. So it's a combination of your science and art where you have data, you have psychology, and there is so much more going around. Which brings me to my next question. Mark, I read about you on LinkedIn and I saw your journey on LinkedIn. For our audiences, is there any one story or one element which could not make it to your LinkedIn, but you would want to share it with us about your journey or about yourself on the whole?
Yeah, I think there's a few stories in my bio that haven't made LinkedIn, and that's for a reason. And I probably wouldn't want to share those ones. But so we once I've once been in a pitch for a 6-figure campaign that had zero budget, and I assume that most people within the marketing space have been in one of these. So yeah, pitch for a 6-figure campaign with zero budget. We only really had our gut instinct to go on. It was a bit reckless, probably a bit stupid, but it worked. And what it did teach me was that conviction, when paired with a deep understanding of the audience, can outperform perfection. It was a crazy pitch. It was something sort of out of the ordinary that we did, but that moment taught me to trust my intuition more than ever, and to sometimes trust your intuition on top of the data. So yeah, it was a lot of work and good fun, but we got there in the end.
That's pretty interesting, Mark. So yeah, often there are things which we feel are perfect, but then when it comes to the results that they bring, they're not pretty much what we expect. And sometimes it goes vice versa, as you mentioned.
Absolutely.
That brings me to my next question. You've jumped roles in corporate and then, come up to co-owning an agency. How did this happen, and how did you decide that now you want to co-own an agency and would want to get into that place?
Yeah, I think this has been asked of me before, and the term rebellion has been given. I'd say that it wasn't rebellion. I think it was more of an alignment. So I've spent years driving growth for other businesses, and I've thought for a long time. I think I can do this better. I think with a team we can do this better. We can probably do things a bit smarter. We can probably do things with a bit more impact. And really, Wrapped was born from that mindset. The business was built to challenge norms and to build brands with the strategic depth and creative soul. So that's basically what sort of aligns me with Wrapped here, and what made me come here and do what we did. Did I know what I was getting into? Absolutely not. Would I make the same decision again? 100% yes. If you'd have asked me 4 months ago, it might be a different answer. But I definitely knew that I wanted to build something, and with Wrapped, there was a fantastic opportunity to come along and do that with some previous experiences in different sectors and different landscapes. So yeah, not so much a rebellion, but yeah, more of that alignment of sectors and experience, I think.
Perfect. That sounds really great. Coming down to my next question, when at Wrapped, could you share some early leadership lesson that you learned while you were building the team and while you were, actually growing this entire initiative?
Yeah, so it's something I learned a while ago actually, and that's that the loudest voice isn't always the smartest voice, and a lot of it's down to listening, and when I say listening, I mean really really listening. Listening to your team gives you more than just a direction. It gives you the buy-in, it gives you a culture, it gives you clarity. Leadership isn't always about being the hero in the room. I think it's more about creating a space that will allow others to thrive and perhaps others to be that hero. So yeah, I think a big early lesson I had in my sort of career in leadership has been around that we don't always need to be the loudest and the boldest and stamping our authority everywhere. Sometimes we just need to sit and listen to our surroundings and what that atmosphere is telling us.
Well, I think that's pretty much something that I align with. So yeah, when you're running a business, it will be great if you're not the smartest person in the room, but you've been able to hire people who are smarter than you in that particular domain. So yeah, I
Absolutely,
agree
yeah.
with that. Bringing me down to my one of my favorite questions, which I ask almost all the marketing geniuses there. What, according to you, would help a brand go from local to global? How can they go ahead and do this?
Oh, it's a billion-dollar question. Billion-dollar question. Um, for me, I think it's clarity, it's confidence, and overall, I think consistency. Um, I think we have a big in the world nowadays. We have a big hang up on scaling. Everyone needs to
Mm-hmm.
scale, and I think too many brands try to scale before they've nailed who they actually are. I think there's a big piece of work that needs to be done around okay, who are we? What do we do? What do we want to achieve? A business needs to have a sharp sense of purpose and a brand story that translates across borders without losing that meaning. Um, global doesn't mean generic. Global means intentional, and I think again we need to sort of put the brakes on scale, and more about okay, who are we? What do we do? How do we get that consistency and that clarity? And how do we get the confidence and buy-in from our clients? I think once we've ticked all those boxes, then we can scale, and then we can go for global domination.
All right, pretty much at it, Mark. Coming down to one of another important element of marketing when it comes to brand positioning. So at Wrapped, how do you help your clients position their brand correctly in the market?
Yeah, so there's a number of things we do, and I guess overall, and we do this within the healthcare market quite strongly, and we kind of say that we can market the unmarketable, but the overall with that is we kind of make the uncomfortable safe. So everything we do at Wrapped is based on facts. So through insight and evidence and a straight talking strategy that we have here, um, our job isn't just to sort of throw bold ideas out there and try and break the norm. It's to basically show our clients the why. It's to show our clients what the risks are if they don't move, and inevitably if they do move, it's our job to sort of hold the hand through that leap. Um, being bold is fantastic and it's great, but being bold doesn't mean you have to be blind. So yeah, a lot of that work we do around trying to make everyone feel safer, and if they want to sort of jump into something a bit more risky, we'll hold the hand and guide them through that.
All right, this pretty much gives an insight to my next question as well. However, I'll put that up again for you. When it comes to doing things differently, can you tell us what is it one thing which Rap does differently, which maybe other agencies can adopt, or it just helps you stand apart from?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think this ties down quite nicely with sort of my background and my role here. So, as kind of alluded to earlier, we lead on fact, we lead on strategy, not just surface. So every decision that we make, every brand decision or digital marketing decision we make, is tied to a commercial outcome. So we don't just ask our clients, what do you want to look like? We ask our clients, where are you going, or where do you want to go? Um, and I think that sort of upstream thinking, that's what separates a normal campaign to a brand shift, um, and always having an eye on always having an eye on that commerciality. And I think that's something we have the benefit of as being full service here. We don't just do things to make it look pretty. Everything has to have a reason, and we tie that reason down to a little bit of commerciality as well. So there needs to be return on investment. There needs to be a commercial reason why we've made a decision on behalf of our clients, or why we've decided to work with our clients to push them in a certain direction. And that's because we feel there'll be some sort of commercial benefit for them for doing that. And I think sometimes we forget that in this sector, that we're instructed by our clients to essentially help them make money, and we're a large piece, a large cog in that, or a smaller cog in the overall sales machine. So yeah, making sure that things have got strategy, and a commercial outcome is a big part of what we do differently, I believe.
Well, that's something which is pretty much interesting. So yeah, ROI is something that everybody talks about. But again, when you come into marketing, there are a lot of vanity metrics, which we call like things which look good, but don't really have any commercial value, or, something attached to it. So that's something pretty much which would get a 10 on 10 when it comes to an agency, considering these things. Now, there are a number of different clients I'm sure you must be dealing with, and, different clients with different mindsets, with different, industry verticals. Could you tell us, without naming the project, of course, any client or any project which actually pushed your team to the edge and you all were able to successfully deliver it? Any experience as such?
Yeah, there's quite a few of these. So in the verticals we work in terms of the sectors, which is generally sort of healthcare, the financial services sector, and property. Those two, the first two, the healthcare and the financial services, are obviously very, very heavily regulated sectors. So there are a number of projects that have pretty much every project pushes our team to the edge, I think, in terms of the time to deliver, what's on the line, and the regulatory hoops that we have to jump through to make sure that our clients are staying the right side of regulation. But there's one in particular that sticks out, and it was a global client, came to us with 6 markets, 5 personas, and absolutely zero alignment. Absolute chaos. But we managed to turn that into clarity quite quickly, with some heavy brand architecture work. Once we did all that brand architecture work to point out what needs to go where, and how things need to be aligned, it finally made sense to them, and it made sense to the customers as well. So yeah, it was a big deal for us. It was a big chunk of revenue into the agency. It was a lot of time from the team, and a lot of sort of learning as we went along. Some very tight deadlines from a very large global client. But yeah, the edge was real, but so was the transformation. So yeah, we got there in the end for that one.
Wow, congratulations on that, Mark. So yeah, even I have come across a number of, senior level management wherein they feel that, they can have a one product fits all kind of a thing, which doesn't really work. You need to narrow down your personas, you need to narrow down your positioning, and then take the product to the market. Which brings me down to my next question. Do you think a strong brand can save a weak product?
I think, yeah, yes and no. I think a strong brand could temporarily save a weak product, but I think long term, brand amplifies what's already there. So I guess the brand is sort of the building that's on top of the foundations, and the product of the foundations. I think if the product's weak, the brand will expose it very quickly. Marketing can attract, but retention of clients and reputation are where the truth shows. So realistically, yeah, if there isn't a strong product, the brand will only be a sticking plaster over it for so long. I think, and there's various examples of this in the market, where products have had a very quick launch, and they've gone up that scale very quickly, but it kind of tails off and goes down quite quickly when the product isn't all as seen. So we can make anything look pretty, and sell anything, but realistically, if the product doesn't match the branding, then it'll get found out quite quickly.
Perfect. Pretty much add it, Mark. Coming down to my next question, like the products come in as a trend or as a fad, and then they probably come down the graph very soon. Similarly, there are many trends that come up in marketing. Now coming up with AI, so many tools, so many technology, so much coming around. So, is there any one trend that you could kill forever? Something which you think is a trend in marketing at the moment, but could not stay for long, and that is something that you could kill or eliminate?
Yeah, a lot of people might hate me for this. I think my opinion is, and again, it's all being very, very commercial around it. I don't like vanity metrics. So sort of likes, impressions, all the type of fluff that looks good in a pitch deck, but it doesn't do anything for the bottom line. I think, and again, social media is obviously absolutely huge. That fluff around likes and impressions and all that type of thing, it doesn't bring too much to the party for me. So I think, again, if we're talking about brands wanting to go somewhere, they need to chase meaning and not noise. So yeah, for me, the vanity metrics can get in the bin as far as I'm concerned.
And I pretty much agree with that. Something that even I would deal with. And simultaneously, when you mentioned that at Wrapped you are tied to data and you try to, ROI. So obviously, this vanity metrics is something which is not going to contribute to that. So yeah, moreover, people do consider it as an element when it comes to brand awareness, but something it's not bringing anything to the table as such. So yeah, that can be something which we can skip. On another note, is there any quiet trend or channel which is not making much noise, but you feel marketers should pay attention to this?
Yeah, I think we've moved away from this a little bit, and again, this might sort of might run into my background in sort of previous life of sales and what have you. But I think community is a trend that we need to get back. So I think communities are huge, and not the sort of build a forum kind, but real like value driven brand communities. So I think a place where customers can feel seen, heard, and involved. Because again, leading to the sales side of things, it's sticky, it's scalable, it's smart. If you have that community, a strong sort of brand community, value driven community, you've got an area to share ideas, you've got an area to air issues, and yeah, it's going to be a place where people will continue to come back to. So yeah, I think it's probably a trend that's been and gone, but I think it probably should come back. In my opinion, is that sort of that community.
Of course, I completely echo on that. So building that brand advocacy, having users of the brand come forward, probably given their reviews, or actually come in and speak for the brand is something which would probably drive more audiences towards the brand.
Absolutely.
Going a bit off the track when it comes to my next question, again, AI and artificial intelligence is another trend which is currently going on. How much do you think this would influence marketing agencies, marketers on the whole? And do you think this is something which would stay for long, or is it just going to be short lived?
Yeah, I think this is a super interesting question, and I guess if you ask this question to a million people, you're going to get a million different answers, right? But I think AI is definitely here to stay. We're currently investigating how we can best use it in our business, both for operations to streamline things and make things quicker within our organization, but also for our clients. How can we best influence our clients with AI? How can we best recommend AI and by use of our clients? So I think it's something that's going to be here for the long term. I think it will continuously evolve. I think it's evolved so quickly in such a short period of time. What will always be required, in my opinion, is still the human touch, the human interaction. What we can't do is allow AI to, for want of a better term, run riot and do the marketing for us and come up with brands and ideas for us. But absolutely, it should be used as a tool to better our lives and better our campaigns. How, as I say, how we use that and what it's going to look like in a month from now, let alone from a year from now, I don't know. But we're certainly here watching it with extreme interest. And yeah, I think it's something that's going to be here to stay. I believe that if an agency isn't already looking into AI and how to use the tools associated with AI, I think they're already behind. And I think that agencies that refuse to adopt it in the future will be the agencies that disappear the quickest. I think it's something that is going to change the agency landscape, hopefully for the better. But yeah, let's see.
Definitely. We will be looking forward to how these things go ahead. Brings me down to my next question. Along with AI, there are a number of tools which are supporting this revolution, what I may call. So WhatsApp is another one tool which brands are using for communication, for customer engagement, for customer support, and for many other things. So, what is your perspective when it comes to WhatsApp as a tool? How are agencies leveraging this for their clients? Are they, helping their clients actually push it forward to get better engagement with their customers, or how are things going around in that particular space?
Yeah, so I think in terms of how it can be used for speed and clarity, I think it's a game changer. So obviously it can be used with clients for things like real time updates, quick decisions, gut checks. The good thing is it strips away that formality, but it keeps the momentum. Obviously, faster feedback for our teams equals faster feedback for our clients, faster results for our clients. Sorry. But I think what's also interesting is, again, going back to what I was just saying previous, that I think in the sort of AI era, I think WhatsApp can be a secret weapon in that era. I think as AI automates more, I think the human touch will become more valuable, and I think WhatsApp can sort of set the tone a little bit. So I think communication via WhatsApp can remind the client that there is a sort of human on the other end of it, that with a commercial sense and creative instinct. So it's just not letting AI tools run with things. So yeah, I think for not all clients like to use it, but I think in terms of that sort of, as I say, the clarity, the speed, that sort of more personable and informal feel and discussion with the client and decision making tool, I think it's really, really important. And again, I know of a number of agencies that use it heavily, and I think again, if agencies aren't using it too much, again, I think they may get left behind.
Perfect. Another one term which you used over here, which I personally echo with a lot, is the momentum. Yes, with WhatsApp, brands would be able to build that momentum for their customers, wherein they would be more accessible, they would be more, on the go kind of an approach they can have. All right, that is a pretty interesting conversation, Mark. Bringing me down to almost the last segment of our conversation today. If there could be one takeaway from our entire session, which no viewer should miss, what would be your favorite part and takeaway for them?
Oh, favorite part and takeaway. Interesting. Yeah. So I think the conversation around AI, I think it's just an ongoing, evolving conversation, right? So I think I'm really interested to see where AI leads us as a sector, and how businesses will use AI in their branding and their business operations moving forwards. Again, I've no idea what the answer is or what that's going to look like in a month or so, or down the line, or whatever that may be. But I think certainly the way AI will reshape the business landscape, full stop, is something that everyone should have a finger on the pulse of. So yeah, I'll happily sit and talk to anyone about AI and the tools associated with AI until the cows come home. I'm really excited about it. So yeah, I would the biggest takeaway, I think, is that discussion around AI. If you're not investigating it, if you're not looking into how it can assist your business and help with your clients, you need to be involved in that, because that's the way it's going to go. So yeah, if there was one thing to take away, get involved with AI, investigate.
Oh, wow. Pretty much at it on point, Mark. Definitely, AI is something wherein all eyes are on AI, and we need to understand as marketers where our businesses are going to go, where they're going to use it, and stuff like that. Definitely. All right. On that note, I would like to end this pretty conversation that we had, which is definitely going to benefit our users. Thank you so much, Mark. On behalf of Bot Space, I would like to extend a warm thank you to you. Thank you so much for being our guest and sharing these valuable insights with our audiences today, Mark.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.